Hi guys, get ready for 20 amazing and unexpected moments with royal guards all caught on camera. You will be stunned. So don't miss out and let's check them all together right now. Have you ever seen those iconic British royal guards? You know, the ones with the tall furry hats and striking red uniforms? They are a classic sight, but what you might not know is that these guards aren't just for show, they mean serious business. In this video, a tourist is at Windsor Castle doing what tourists do best, capturing memories. She's there, probably thinking about the perfect Instagram post when suddenly things take a surprising turn. As she's posing away, the royal guard marches right up to her, and guess what? He's not there to say cheese for the camera. Instead, he lets out a yell that would startle anyone.
Get out of the box!
The woman, caught off guard, bursts into laughter, a mix of shock and amusement. She quickly moves away, still chuckling. It's a classic tourist meets guard moment, but it leaves us wondering, why did the guard yell? Was she standing right in his marching path, or was there another reason? Next time you're near a royal guard, remember, they're not just statues in fancy outfits. They have a job to do, and they're not afraid to speak up, or should I say, yell. Here we go again with our friends in red. This time we've got a video showing two serious-looking royal guards marching right through a crowd of tourists at the castle. Tourists are all around, some snapping pics with the castle as their backdrop, others just soaking in the sights and wandering about. It's a pretty chill scene until enter the guards, marching with purpose towards the castle. Everything seems pretty standard, right? But hold on, there's a twist.
Make way!
As they stride along, they start belting out, "Make way!" to anyone even remotely in their path. And let me tell you, the way they say it is a mix of funny and intimidating. Enough to spook the tourists, but also crack them up. As they continue their march while chanting, "Make way!" a lady walking in the opposite direction gets caught in a bit of a pickle. She ends up squished right between the two guards. It's a moment of confusion, surprise, and a whole lot of laughter from everyone watching. So, do you think this is all part of the Royal Guard's rule book, or are they having a bit of fun with the tourists? Either way, it's a hilarious watch and a reminder that even the Queen's guards can be the center of a good laugh. Okay, if you thought our last video was epic, you have got to see this one. Check out this girl. What's she up to? It looks like she's having a blast singing and dancing, but hold on a second. Is she busting those moves right next to a royal guard? Damn, she's not just got moves, but confidence too. As she's dancing away, the guard looks like he couldn't be less bothered standing there all stoic and guard-like. The girl probably thinks she's totally nailing it with her cool dance routine, but then, out of nowhere, the guard does his thing. You know, the classic foot stamp, the weapon switch from one arm to the other, and then he just walks away. Now that is hilarious. The girl's reaction is priceless, a mix of being startled and totally shook. It's a laugh out loud moment for sure. So what do you think? Is dancing next to these serious-looking guys in red suits a no-no? Or was it just this guard's way of saying, "I'm out"? Alright, get ready for this one. It's a bit of a weird encounter with the King's Guard. So, we've got what looks like a tourist probably just wanting a cool photo with the guard for her scrapbook or Instagram, right? Everything's chill, just like your typical touristy moment until, whoa.
Do not touch the King's Guard!
The guard suddenly yells, "Do not touch the King's Guard!" But hold on a second, did she actually touch him? From what I can see, it doesn't look like her arms are on him. Oh wait, she just leaned in a bit too close and their arms brushed against each other. Damn, is that really such a big deal? I mean, it's not like she was trying to give him a hug or anything, but hey, that's the thing with these guards, right? They're known for being super strict. Even the tiniest thing can set them off. It's like they're always on high alert, ready to shout out if you even breathe in their direction. So, while it might seem a bit much, it's just a part of their whole "don't mess with the King's Guard" vibe. Definitely a memorable moment for that tourist, though. Whoa, hold up. So far, we've seen royal guards using words to deal with tourist antics, but what just happened here? Okay, so there's this royal guard doing his usual statue-like stance, all serious and guardy. Then, out of nowhere, this guy shows up and starts imitating the guard's moves. It's like he's straight up mocking him. He even steps right in front of the guard, totally blocking his view. And then, bam! The guard slaps the guy on the head. Oh man, that is a twist. So what do you think? Should the guard have kept his cool and not gone hands-on no matter what? Or did the guy cross the line by mocking the guard's profession and getting in his face? It's a tricky one, right? right? On one hand, you've got the guard's duty and respect for the job. On the other, there's this tourist probably thinking he's just having a bit of fun. But hey, maybe there is a line you just don't cross with these guards. Oh my, just when you think things couldn't get more intense, here's another jaw-dropper. This video shows a bustling scene with tourists everywhere, and in come the marching royal guards. And of course, where there are tourists, there are kids. But what is about to unfold is something else. The two guards are on their usual march, all disciplined, when suddenly there's this kid right in their path. But the kid isn't running around or anything, he's just standing there. Now, in any normal situation, you'd expect someone to steer the kid away, right? But remember, these aren't the royal guards we're talking about. Normal isn't really their thing. So, what happens? The guard doesn't even break stride, just marches right over the kid. Yeah, you heard that right. Doesn't even pause to check if the kid is okay. Talk about being unbothered. Now that is downright stone cold. Thank goodness the kid seems fine, but he's definitely got a scare he won't forget. Alright, here's an interesting one for you. A royal guard at Windsor Castle is doing his usual routine, marching, standing still like a statue, the whole guard gig. There's this rope barrier keeping the tourists at a safe distance. Most of them are just doing the typical tourist stuff, watching the guard, taking photos, and moving on. But oh man, not everything is as chill as it seems. If you take a closer look, there's a group of kids, probably tourists too. Right from the get-go, they're giggling and poking fun at the guard. A couple of them even stoop down to get a full view of the guard's face. It's all fun and games until it's not. When things get a bit too much and the guard can't take it anymore, he lets out a booming, "Get off the rope!"
Get off the road!
And whoa, does that scare everyone, especially those cheeky kids. Honestly, there wasn't any real harm done, but I think the guard made the right call. Those kids were being pretty disrespectful, especially at a high-profile tourist spot like Windsor Castle. A little discipline never hurts, right? This one is not just about a royal guard. There's a royal horse in the mix too. The guard is seen all mounted up, looking regal and calm on his horse, while tourists flock around, snapping pics and soaking in the moment. It is the usual scene, people posing next to the horse, capturing a memory, and then moving on. Pretty standard stuff, right? But wait, things take a turn. Along comes this lady, trying to be sweet and generous, and decides to feed the horse. The horse seems to dig the treat, munching away happily. But then, oh no, what was that? The horse decides to give her hand a little nibble. Who knew royal horses had such a cheeky side, huh? I hope the lady's okay though. It's one of those moments that is funny and shocking at the same time. If I were there, I would probably keep my distance from those horses, but hey, these tourists are a brave bunch, aren't they? So, do you think that lady was just being kind by feeding the horse, or should she have stuck to the classic pose and go like everyone else? Oh, another royal horse video? I'm just sitting there thinking, please, no more bites this time. So, we've got this majestic horse, complete with a royal guard sitting proudly on top, and as usual, there's a stream of tourists coming by, snapping their photos, the typical tourist drill. But then, here comes this lady. She's all set up for her picture, but wait a minute, she reaches out and grabs the horse's rein. Hold up, is that even allowed? Nope, definitely not, because the next thing we know, the royal guard is like, "Get off the rein!" The lady had a little jump of fright, and then she just laughed it off. There's another woman, probably a tour guide in the crowd, who chimes in and tells everybody not to touch any part of the horse or its equipment. It is a rule, friends. And hey, did you catch that warning sign over there? The one saying the horse might kick or bite? I'm betting the lady from our previous video missed that memo. Alright, here's another video of the royal guards, but this time at a different spot in the castle. Tourists are coming and going, cameras in hand, capturing their moments with the guard. There's this chain barrier too, which is a clear "do not cross" sign, and everyone is playing by the rules by keeping their distance, all respectful like. But then comes this guy. He's trying to get a different angle for his photo, maybe thinking he'll get a cool shot. So he steps just a tad over the line into the no-go zone, and boom!
Get back!
Out of nowhere, the guard, who was all statue still a second ago, belts out a "Get back!" It's kind of wild to see. 1 minute the guard is like a motionless figure, and the next, he's all voice and command, then back to statue mode again. It's a real-life example of how these guards are always on high alert, not letting even the smallest rule slide. So we've just seen one side of the castle where the royal guard does his duty, right? Now let's flip to the other side of the same area. It's a similar scene. People are taking photos, some with the guard in the background, background, all staying behind the barrier, no fuss at all. But then, here come these two ladies. Instead of just admiring the guard from the front like everyone else, one of them decides to get a bit adventurous. She crosses over to the middle area, you know, the part without any chains or barriers, and just as she's trying to get a different view of the guard, bam! The guard shouts, "Get back!" Now, this middle part doesn't have any physical barriers, but it is clearly off limits. It makes you wonder, right? Should they put up a barrier there too? It would definitely save tourists from these little embarrassments. It's all about keeping things clear and saving those "oh man, did that just happen?" moments. We just can't get enough of this spot, can we? It's like there's always something quirky going on with the Royal Guards here. So what's going on here this time? Well, the guard who is usually behind the chain barrier suddenly decides to step out. And nope, there's no clear reason why, he just does. As he's marching out, you can see people quickly scooting aside to let him pass. It's like everyone is on their toes around these guards. But then there's this tourist just slightly in the guard's path, and you can probably guess what happens next.
Make way!
Yes, the guard belts out a "make way." He steps out of the gate, stands around for a few seconds, and then, just as unexpectedly, marches back in. It's kind of funny, isn't it? These guards don't seem to know the art of sidestepping or finding an alternate route. If you're in their way even just a bit, you're gonna hear about it. What do you think about this whole "make way" rule? Is it just a part of their duty, or does it come off as a bit rude? Up next is another video of a royal guard giving everyone a bit of a shock. It's just a regular day at the castle, tourists everywhere, soaking in the sights, snapping photos, the usual scene. But then, out of nowhere, this royal guard starts marching through the crowd and yells at anyone in his path. He's coming from behind so nobody sees him coming. And whoa, does that scare the daylights out of everyone? It's like 1 second you're admiring the castle, and the next you're jumping out of your skin. The guard, though, is totally unfazed. He just keeps on marching, reaches his spot, and then goes back to being statue still behind the chain barriers. And just like that, everyone else tries to shake off the surprise and goes back to their touristy things, but you can bet they're still all feeling that mini heart attack. It's moments like these that remind you those royal guards aren't just there for decoration. They're on duty, and they're not about to let a crowd of tourists slow them down. A little startling, sure, but definitely a memorable part of the castle experience. Moving on to the next video, and oh my lord, would you look at that crowd? It is absolutely insane. Makes you wonder how many people flock to the castle every single day, because that is a whole sea of people right there. But wait a minute, something's missing. Where's the royal guard? And just as you think it, here he comes. Classic guard style. He's not about to wait for the crowd to part like the Red Sea. Instead, he goes for the most iconic guard line ever.
Make way!
Make way! It's like his magic words to get people to shuffle aside and clear a path. So he marches out of the gate, stands there for what, a few seconds? And then, just as quickly, he's back inside. What's the deal with that? Is there any real purpose to this brief march out and back in? Hard to say, really. Maybe it's just a part of the guard routine, or maybe he's just keeping everyone on their toes. But one thing is for sure, these guards do not like anyone blocking their way. We just can't get enough of these funny moments with the royal guards, can we? Behind those chain barriers, there's always something going on. So what is happening is that the guard is in his usual super serious stance, and tourists are all around, clicking away with their cameras. He's cool with it as long as they stay in the allowed area. But then, this one guy, after taking a front shot, decides to get a bit more adventurous. He then tries to get fancy by moving to a different angle and stepping into the middle area. Big mistake. That is apparently off limits. And just like that, our statue-like guard springs into action, breaking his pose to shout at the man to get out. And did you see that? The man seems too stubborn to budge. This makes the guard even more mad, and he steps up his game by moving closer to the man in a clear show of annoyance. And that does the trick. The man finally gets the message and moves away. This also sends a ripple of surprise through the nearby tourists, but the guard, he's right back to being his statue self in no time. It's like these guards have a sixth sense for when someone is stepping where they shouldn't. Just another typical day at the castle, swarming with tourists snapping pics and marveling at the royal guards. We're back at those areas with the chain barriers where that middle zone is a big no-go. But of course, there's always someone who wants to push the limits, right? First up, we have this woman who decides to sneak a peek from the middle area. And boom! The guard instantly breaks his statue-like stance to shout, "Get back!"
Get back!
The woman is startled at first, but then just laughs it off. All seems to go back to normal, but wait for it. After a while comes another woman and yep, you guessed it, she heads straight for the same off-limits spot. This time, the guard's patience is wearing thin. He yells out at her to stay behind the arches. Now it's crystal clear, isn't it? You've got to stay behind those arches, barrier or not, unless you want a royal guard yelling at you at full volume. Did you miss the royal horse? If so, you're in luck because we're back with another video featuring a royal guard on his gleaming horse. But hold on, something's different this time. You know how usually tourists crowd around the horse while clicking photos with their cameras? Not today. The area around the horse is oddly empty. Makes you wonder, right? What's going on here? You can also spot some security guards at the gate, which isn't the usual scene. So something is definitely up. Amid all this unusual calm, there is this one brave or maybe just curious guy who decides to take his chance. He steps forward and strikes a pose behind the horse, but oh man, was that a good idea? As you might guess, the royal guard isn't having any of it. He doesn't let the man get too close and yells at him to stay behind a certain line.
Get behind the brother!
It's like an invisible boundary that you just don't cross, especially when the guard is on high alert. The next video is set in what looks like a walkway. The royal guard is standing there all stoic and guard-like while tourists casually stroll by. Then this guy shows up, casually sidles up next to the guard and strikes a pose for a picture. Everything seems chill and the guard doesn't seem to mind. But wait a minute, how come he's not saying anything? Oh damn, spoke too soon. There he goes, shouting at the man to get back and not stand too close, even just for a photo. The man and pretty much everyone around is totally stunned. Did the man really do something wrong by getting too close? Or was the guard being a bit too harsh? That is the moment that makes you wonder about the fine line between getting that perfect tourist snap and respecting the guard's personal space. Here comes another video about royal guards and their horses. It's the usual scene with people milling around, taking photos with the guards who seem pretty chill about it all. But then this one guy shows up and things take a turn. Why did the guard shout at him and not others? Well, it's because the man did a big no-no. He grabbed the horse's rein. That is a major off-limits move. As soon as his hand touches the rein, the guard is on it yelling, "Get off the rein!" But wait, there's more. The guard doesn't just say it once, he says it twice. But the man, he's not getting the message. So what does the guard do? He takes matters into his own hands, or hooves rather. He moves his horse, basically forcing the man to let go of the rein. So here we are at our final video of the day, and trust me, it is not what you would be expecting. After a whole parade of cold and unsmiling guards, could this one be any different? Let's find out. There's this guy, looks like a typical tourist who sidles up close to the guard. The guard is in full statue mode, not moving a muscle. The tourist starts spouting off some funny stuff. At first, there was no reaction from the guard, but then as the guy keeps going, you start hearing giggles from the cameraman in the crowd. And hold up, did we just see a tiny smile crack on the guard's face? No way, right? But wait for it, the best part is yet to come. The man keeps up with his hilarious comments and then, voila, he delivers this killer punchline that actually makes the guard laugh. Oh my lord, what a sight! After all those serious, unflappable guard videos, this is like a breath of fresh air. The funny guy, the guard, everyone around, they all burst into laughter. It is a beautiful moment that shows, hey, these guards might have a tough job, but they're human too. What a fantastic way to wrap up our guard watching adventure. And that is a wrap on our royal roundup of 20 unexpected and hilarious encounters with the royal guards. It is proof that even the strictest of traditions can have their lighthearted moments.